Hi guys, thanks for checking out another video. I hope you like my previous videos, and I just wanted to get into etheric attachments or etheric parasites, emotional blockages, things that people know are there but they can't see them. And so I think things like these have to be addressed because we all face them. And if you're not ready to deal with it, then it's gonna be hard to get rid of. So I'm gonna get into etheric attachments and what they are. Um, they cause emotional blockages or blockages in your spiritual aura. So I'll get into that as well. And then I can get into how to get rid of them, but not everyone digests that information the same way, and it's really hard for people to understand how to get rid of them because it's something that certain people they can wrap their head around the concept of, oh, there's an attachment that I can't see yet I can connect with it and do something about it. Some other people can't do that. So not saying that no one, it's like for special people, but I think certain people can grasp that idea and they're able to actually perform healing on others, whereas other people never really exercise that ability, so they wouldn't understand how to perform healing on other people, if that makes sense. So an etheric attachment is something that clings onto you. Maybe there's like a certain time in your life where you felt a certain way, and this energy attached itself onto you, and therefore making itself a part of your day-to-day reality. Another form of attachment, it could be karmatic, so something that's been passed on from generation to generation in your family bloodline, and you just so happen to be carrying that weight as well. And these two are pretty common. People are less aware of the karmatic type of attachments because you grow up in an environment, and usually a fish is the last one to know it's in water. So you're not aware that you're carrying around this karma that can actually be detached from you. An example of that is you grow up in poverty, and therefore your blockage is you think that you can't be prosperous, when really that's an attachment. The poverty is the mindset of poverty is actually an attachment itself, and the blockage is you thinking that you can't create success. When it comes to events that that hold on to your emotional well-being, maybe trauma could be one. Things that invoke a lot of emotions like anger, sadness. Happiness is usually not a negative attachment, but happiness or being in love, those things are different kinds of attachments that I'll get into. But let's say sadness. So sadness is an attachment that or it can manifest some kind of attachment linked to sadness, and that attachment will try to suck out your energy when you're trying to uplift yourself to get you back to that state, because some things feed off of sadness. Like some spirits, I'm not trying to get into like dark realms right now, but some spirits they cling onto another person's sadness or their guilt, and you will just feel this heavy burden on you. You don't know why, because you can't see this thing, but you feel like this weight is on you and you can't get past something. And so that's a form of attachment that leads to the blockage of you being happy. And anger, some people become angry out of nowhere. Some things out there thrive off of your anger. And I've seen these attachments, they can come in the form of things you can't see. Like, you can't see them in the etheric realm, so these would be called etheric parasites, and they also come in the form of people. So people can be attached to you being a certain way. So if you're always angry, there could be either a etheric parasite that that feeds off of your anger and therefore needs you to be angry. Or this can arrive in the form of a person where that person almost needs you to be angry and feeds off of your anger or your frustration or whatever it is. And so attachments, they can happen in the form of something etheric or spiritual where you can't see it first. Like your spiritual body becomes affected by all of this before it manifests into the physical realm. And by the time things manifest into the physical realm, it's usually just not a really good sign. It could be really bad, but I think being able to see these things ahead of time is very important, because before it manifests into the physical realm, you can spot it in the etheric realm, and you can stop them. But the one thing that people are afraid of doing that is very important before you can get rid of any kind of attachment is that you have to be aware of it. So you have to create an awareness around this thing that's feeding off of whatever emotion is happening with you that this thing feeds off of. So let's say for me, currently, something angers me, and I'm not sure like why I feel so frustrated and it's sudden, and then this person that frustrates me all the time happens to walk in the same room. Okay, do you see how those things kind of synchronize together to create an event? So this attachment is happening, and then it manifests physically, and then it's kind of like, how am I going to react to it? You know, something's feeding off of it, because it's like it came out of nowhere, and it's trying to make me a host for some reason, so then it can get what it needs from me. And sometimes, you know, the person who is being, I guess you can call them energy vampires. That's like what a person who acts as a parasite or attachment in the physical realm would be referenced as an emotional vampire. Sometimes they don't even know that they're an emotional vampire, or that they're sucking your energy. But usually the things that do come into your field to kind of take the things that don't belong to them, they don't know that it's bad for you. They're just doing their job. That's what they do. That's how they survive. And so it's usually not they're not fully, they can be kind of aware, but they're not usually fully aware that they're doing this to you. And it's best in this situation, since you can't always prevent all these different attachments from getting to you. It's hard to prevent every single kind of attachment from getting to you, because there's so much to feel out in the universe, right? The best way is to protect yourself and to become aware that there are things out there that will leech onto you if you bring a certain energy to the table. So I want to go ahead and jump to emotional blockages, because when we talk about things, attachments, etheric parasites, stuff like that, it leads to emotional blockages. So some some etheric parasites actually will leech onto certain parts of your body or certain things that you're capable of doing, or it's like they're attracted to certain aspects of you and your being. So for instance, let's say someone's really good at singing. They're a really great singer. They may have something constantly attacking their throat because there's so much power there and so much energy there that there's things constantly attacking that part of their body, and therefore they may experience blockages, like they can't say some things that are on their mind sometimes, or they have trouble speaking in front of a lot of people. Even though they are able to sing, they're still like, I don't know how to get the emotion or the words out of my throat. And these things can manifest into physical problems, like my throat always feels sore for some reason. Another example, I'm just going to jump to another example. Let's say that let's say that I am feeling lonely, all right? So I'm feeling lonely, and I manifest in my thoughts that I'm tired of being lonely in a sorrowful way. Like, I'm tired of being lonely. I don't want to be lonely anymore. I just want this now. I want things to just happen now. I don't care how. I just want to meet someone who makes me not feel lonely anymore. And then something comes along and starts giving me company, and I'm like, oh, finally, finally, this is happening. And then all of a sudden, I grow attached to this person, and then this person decides that they're gonna ghost me or something like that. All right. Then now I have this sadness, but they're just fulfilling a need that they have, where it's the need to feel needed. And I wasn't aware that they had a need to feel needed, yet they didn't need anyone in return. But here I am needing someone, and I'm being ghosted, and therefore it's causing sadness. And that while they like that they are needed, it's causing me hurt and pain. And I'm over here wondering, why did they leave me? Like, why did they leave me? And they're just like, she needs me. This is great. This fulfills my need. I'm not thinking about her 100%. And so this is like a parasite, like something parasitic happened. It attached itself to me. It made me feel like I needed it. It's constantly drawing energy from me because I need this. I have this longing for needing someone. So it's getting what it needs from me, and I'm getting what I need from it, but not necessarily. It becomes a parasite. It becomes something that's not serving me, and it then creates blockages. Like, I might cry a lot. I start crying. I start feeling less confident. My aura shines a lot dimmer. Let's just say dimmer, because I'm not able to fulfill myself. I can no longer, it's like I can't live without this person, and without them needing me back, I feel like nothing. So my emotional state, my emotional body can be penetrated very easily by things looking for that emotion, that sadness that I'm feeling, that longing, that hopelessness, the desire for some things that I can't have. It can penetrate that, causing even more destruction. And I don't know if you've ever seen a heartbroken person, but usually physically it even looks bad. So we're gonna now get into how can we, kind of get rid of these things. And as I said, it's about creating the awareness to what's causing the problem. And a lot of people become afraid to face these issues, even though it's really important to face these things. It can be painful, and it takes a lot of realization. Some people meditate on them, and it can just be really hard. And I understand. I'm going to try to give you the best advice I can, and hopefully it helps someone out there. So you have to come to the awareness. A lot of people know what the problem is, but they don't want to admit it because they just don't want to let go. And that's like you're becoming dependent on the attachment, on the parasite that's draining you. And this happens, but you kind of have to just get to a point where you say enough is enough. You have to say enough is enough. You have to become tired of where you're at and how you're feeling. Like, this is not making me feel good. I want to feel happy. So now you're changing your state of mind. You're changing where you mentally want to. You're changing where you are mentally, and you're seeing yourself somewhere else. I remember when I was happy. I want to be happy again. How about that? I remember when I was independent. I want to do that again. I remember when I would exercise a lot. I want to exercise again. It's like usually for me, like I just want to exercise and it gets rid of everything that's bugging me. But some people are different. I remember I used to be more creative. I want to be more creative again. Just making that decision that enough is enough. I need to cut ties here. And so I'm going to give you something useful, and it involves stones. This helps with cutting that cord with things that aren't serving you. And although people do know about, I guess this stuff is called selenite, people do know about it, but people don't really use it to its fullest potential. So selenite, it's selenium, sodium selenium, I believe. It's called liquid light, and the stuff is really amazing. I use it to protect myself a lot. Selenium. Get some selenium. It's pretty affordable. I would say if you go to a good shop where you're not scammed, like I once was, it should only cost like $20 to $30 for a stick, like a wand. And also, if you are really into crystals, it charges your crystals. So it's a worthy investment, and I recommend it. And you want to actually use your mind for this. So see the attachment in your eyes. All of these eyes. All three. Okay? And decide that you are cutting this cord now, and you do not want it to return. You may have to do this a few times, because attachments can be really strong. It's like you're breaking a habit, and that can be hard. It's like daily work. So don't think that this is just a miracle one day step treatment of some kind. It's not. You have to really want to move on, and you have to want to change. So take your selenium, or selenium, that's what it is, but selenite, and see the attachment. Now, sometimes the attachment looks different to other people. People interpret attachments in different ways, because with perspective, like I can see something like I can see a tarantula as completely terrifying, and some people think it's cute. So think of that. Don't think you have to see things in a specific way, because you don't. Everyone's different. And take your selenium, see your attachment, become aware of it, and honestly, I want you to have empathy for this attachment, but do not keep yourself at a distance. Like, do not, don't give it the exception. Like, don't decide like, oh well, maybe I'll just wait a little longer for this thing to change. No, it's over. You waited long enough. Okay, so take your selenium, see the thing that you're trying to get rid of, and just cut it. All right, get rid of it. And these things, you can actually use them to like clear your aura as well. So if you just like brush it on you, it should help kind of clear up any holes in your aura, things that these etheric parasites like to nibble away on. It'll actually make you feel better, and that's just one of the effects of taking care of your spiritual body. You physically begin to feel happier too. So go ahead and take that, rub it around you, cut things as you need to. You can also do this for other people. If you are a healer or you want to get into healing, I say the best way to start is to get one of these if you don't have one already, and find like a friend or a family member. If you know that they're having an issue and something's draining them, just draining their energy, whether they're dealing with an emotional vampire or they're dealing with just some kind of toxic environment, you can take this and cut their cords, so then you can separate those things from that person. A lot of the times when I do that to someone, like let's say they're stressed out ranting to me about this certain thing that's draining their energy, when I do that, they not only do they become happier, but they find other things that make them happy to talk about. So they start filling those gaps in their energy field with things that they love, and it just becomes obvious that, okay, like I feel like I did something for them. So cut cords with this. All right, it's very useful. Go get one. They're really easy to find if you just find a crystal shop, or you can just go online. You can charge your crystals on them. There's no reason not to have one. So another thing you can do when you're trying to get rid of negative, I want to say like negative entities, like negative attachments that aren't serving you, especially when you're like meditating on it and you want to like clear your physical energy, like your immediate environment. So like let's say my house to me is like a toxic place to live in. Like I have to deal with some horrible energy from someone here or something like that. Just take like a sage wand, okay? Take some sage, light it. I usually I'll go clockwise when I want to get past something. Like I want to jump to new beginnings, let's say, but I'll go backwards counterclockwise if I want to redo the energy. Like let's say I invited someone who didn't have great energy into my house. Maybe I'll want to go counterclockwise to undo that they ever came in there and then open all the windows and stuff and let that thing get out of your house. So aside from that, if you are a more advanced healer, and this is also the fun part that I like getting into, you can actually do these things without tools. And this is like a method I do because I don't always have tools with me, and I believe having tools trains you to do this without tools. So when you use your eyes, right? All of them. You know what I'm talking about. Use all of your eyes, and you just want to have a lot of empathy for whatever the situation is, whoever's sitting with you, and maybe ask them some questions, because I'm not saying that when you're doing this, you're a psychic and you know all of a sudden all about this person. If you are, then that's awesome. But if you're not, then there's no expectation for you to know all about this person, and you're supposed to see in your pineal gland and all that. Like, you ask them questions and go ahead and find out through questions, by connecting with them, why they're feeling how they're feeling. Get to the root of something. But do it with good intentions and do it with love. Don't do this to be malicious, because that's just wrong. Okay? Do it do it with the intention of healing, and ask that person questions like, when did you start feeling this way? Do you feel like it's coming from somewhere? Deep questions. Who was the last person you had contact with before you start feeling this way? That's even a good question. And usually that person, it's weird because people usually know what triggered it. It's almost like they're not willing to admit it, especially if it's someone close to you or a loved one, like you're married or it's your mother or something, and they're being a negative attachment and eating away your energy, like a energy vampire. It's really hard to admit that they are doing that to you sometimes, because you love them and you want to protect them. But it's really important to become aware so you can do something about it. And usually the only role of a healer is to get you to realize these things yourself, because healers can't really, they can heal you in that time period. They can't heal you forever, like, unless you're willing to do that. You have the power. Like, everyone has the freedom to make whatever choices, like free will, and it's up to you ultimately, because you have the power to decide that you want to take back your control over a situation and that you're going to do something about it, and you want to see a change. Okay? So back to how to remove it without tools now, because I showed you how to do it with tools. So without tools, see it in your mind's eye, ask them questions, then connect with it, have empathy for this person and the thing that you're going to detach. Feel with your empathy, with your gut, how this emotion is reacting to you and that person becoming aware of it. And once you've pinpointed it, ask it to leave. And this is where I usually like to call upon angels to help me, because some things fight back. Some things don't like to be brought to the surface. Some things just want to remain buried, and once they're disturbed, they will try to attack you. And it could be maybe that person physically wants to attack you, or maybe someone in their family doesn't like that you're doing the healing on them, because you're going to remove something from that bonds them to that person, so they don't want you interrupting that transaction. Therefore, that person may attack you physically, or you can get attacked in your dreams. There's a lot of possibilities, especially when you're dealing with etheric parasites or entities, or anything that sucks your energy from your emotional, spiritual, or etheric bodies. You just want to make sure that you're protected. So call upon angels. If you're more on the Wiccan side, get some salt, get some sea salt. If you are someone who does fight physically, who knows how to do like I don't know, kickboxing, maybe you feel comfortable protecting yourself. Okay, I don't know what your form, what your most, you know, what you're most capable of doing with protecting yourself. I don't know, but whatever it is, I'll make a video on protection, um, angels and all of that. But for now, look into ways to protect yourself before you decide that you're going to start doing mass removals on people, or removing, before you decide to remove etheric entities in general, because you want to make sure you protect yourself from it, one, coming back into attacking you, and three, going to someone in your immediate family or friends because it's convenient for that thing to find a host nearby. You want to make sure you protect everyone. So find good protection, either protection spells if you're into that, protection in general. Okay, so I think that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about in this video. I'll make other videos, but I feel like I talked long enough. So if you have any comments, please go ahead and comment, but keep it positive, because some people like to spit all kinds of negativity, and we just really don't need that. We just don't need it. So keep your positive comments down below, and you can give this a thumbs up if you'd like. You can also subscribe. I know I don't have a ton of videos right now, but I'm working on it, and hopefully I can see you guys around, and I'm really excited for the next one. So stay tuned, and you guys be safe out there and take care.